Hello and welcome to another episode of Data Science on Ibex. So today I want to talk about something really useful for data scientists and how to deploy popular data science IDE on Ibex. First of all, my name is Dr. Didier Barradas Bautista. I am part of the KAUST Visualization Core Lab. We are part of Core Labs, and the KVL, as you can see, has expertise on different subjects. One of those is data science. First, let's discuss what is a GUI. So a GUI, or graphical user interface, is a system of an interactive visual components for a computer or system software, meaning this is the way you interact with your computer. And you're probably already familiar with GUIs. If you're using a Windows machine or a Mac, you know that that's a GUI. Why do we have this? Because in the beginning, to communicate with a computer, you need to be a master of the command line interface, which is not easy to master at the beginning level, but is very useful. Like for example, shell. Okay. But if you are serious about developing your own material, your own software, your own programs, you will need to choose an integrated development environment, or IDE, which are more sophisticated interactive ways in which you can develop whatever you want. Usually you can even write normal things, but this is meant for software development. It has several tools like text editor, which is easier than the versions like VI. This is way easier. Version control, meaning Git, compilers, interpreters, debugging tool, and a lot more. And the interface will look like something similar to this that people is very used to. Okay, with windows, clicks, and clacks. So, why do we want to do this? To start with, it's very easy to install one in your own personal computer, but in HPC cluster, which are shared resource. The HPC cluster is very different from your personal computer. You will not be able to install whatever you want because you do not have root access, meaning that you are not the system administrator. And most beginners do not know how to access the resource, meaning the real supercomputer. What I mean by that is many of our users stay in the login node, which is actually worse than your personal computer, and do not have access to the power. So today we're going to check about RStudio, Jupyter Notebook, and Code Server. Code Server being VS Code, but open source. You will see that they basically look really alike. Okay, so this is the demo that I planned. Let's check up the setup. Use Slurm to run one Jupyter Lab using a Conda environment that we already installed. Use a Slurm script to run a Code Server with something that is called the machine learning module. And last but not least, we will use a script to run RStudio server using a singularity image. This is a container. Okay, so let's get at it. First, we need our terminal. Let's find our terminal. Terminal. There you go. We have our terminal here. Now, let's start by typing. There you go. Better. Let's start by connecting to Ibex. SSH, your user. In this case, my user is this. Then add glogin. It could be ilogin.ibex.edu.sa. glogin. Oh yes. .ibex.kaust.edu.sa. Yeah. So that's the complete address, and now I see this message, which is usually your daily message. You should check it now and then because sometimes this is the way system administrators can communicate stuff like performance problems or stuff like that. So for today, I'm going to use my user partition, and I'm going for this specific folder, which is a Git repository that we already have. So here, as you can see, this is my CLI. I can clear it. And of course, this is something that you can use if you know how to use Nano or BI. But for programming, it's better if we launch, for example, Jupyter Server. We have several things here. Let's start with Jupyter Server. Okay, let's go into this. Now here, if I take this a little bit longer, it's getting longer and longer. I have several examples here that I could share with you. We're going to check these out first with BI. Okay, so the first part of the script is talking to the machine itself, to the supercomputer, and it's telling it, give me these resources, one GPU with this many memory, and call that that job demo. And then it has several other comments that will allow me to understand what's going on here. I can actually just tell it like, hey, whatever it was preloaded, take it out. And now give me this set of different software, and I will be using the machine learning module. This is what it means. And then a sort of setup that we have here already done for you guys. Of course, some instructions that will come handy. These instructions, you will see it working out because this is the way we are going to actually connect to Ibex. And finally, how to launch the Jupyter server. Okay, so let's do that. We start by launching this. Why not? Now let's do it with Conda. With Conda environment, it's a little bit different. So with a Conda environment, what I'm going to change is that instead of telling it like, hey, give me all this substack of different programs and load this machine learning module, what I want to do is to activate my Conda environment, my Conda install. And if you follow the tutorial we have on how to install this, you don't need these two lines. But I'm telling now the computer, hey, look for this. This is a Conda environment that I installed recently, and activate that environment. And because I know that in this environment there is a Jupyter notebook, I can just call it like it is, just the same. Let's do that. And now I'm going for cd launch code server. Now the difference between Conda and the machine learning module, launch code server Ibex, is that the machine learning module do have also code server installed. It's the same kind of instruction with a different setup that we have prepared for you, so you need to do not worry about that. But it's also telling the machine where to find some different folders, and then we will connect our code server running this line here with our extensions and everything that you need to run it as it was VS Code. So we can do this, and we will put it here. Now to check if they are running, sq --me, and we have different things running already. That's nice. Let's start with something from here. Launch Jupyter server. So what do we have here? With demo conda, okay, on the top, we have to establish a connection. We have to take this here, open a new terminal window. We type this here and password again. Okay. Now this was telling me at the end, okay, now you can use this direction or this other direction in your web browser. So let's take one web browser and let's say here we have a web browser here. Point. After copy paste, now I am here. Great. And this is basically how you start now a notebook here, and you can print stuff, and this is our friend Python here working. Hello world. You run this, and there it is. And this is my conda environment running so far. That's okay. Now let's check the same, but let's check that for our friend machine learning module. So here we have again the same instruction all the way here. You see here, it told us that it loads some requirements, and we have to open a newer window because this port here might not be the same port that I used before. So just like that. Okay. And now I can do exactly the same thing, going all the way here and getting myself this link, open a new window, and there you go. Here is going to deploy the Jupyter Lab, but using another version of Jupyter Lab, which is in the machine learning module. Now let's do the same. Launch code server. If you see that, you also will be able to do the same thing. Now here, code server, again, the error file. If you have followed so far, you can see here is the same thing over and over again. This line is creating a bridge between your computer and Ibex, the supercomputer. So in this, the port is 55141, and in the others having a different one. This was 49723, and so on and so forth. We do this because these are ports that are free. Okay, and now it's telling me take this and copy paste it in a new one. We copy paste this. There you go. And now I have all of these, and I'm actually able to run around. Open folder, for example. I could go to, let's go to containers 101, and I can simply go over my folders and check out different projects and start working. That's cool. So far we have used Jupyter Lab, and this is code server with everything that you need in code server. Like, for example, all these things are the add-ons that you might want to install. Also the source control, here you have it. Over here, cancel, you have pretty much the same. You even have this resource of how you can monitor your GPU utilization. I am using a GPU here, but I have wrote nothing. So you can put this over here, let's say, and then you start writing code here that could use GPUs. All right, so far so good. Now we're going for the container example. Okay, and this is the same process, sbatch our learn script, and we can check it out. Actually, we can check here. Again, we're communicating with the supercomputer, asking for one node. This case is only CPUs. The job name is going to be RStudio. But now we're going to add here the capability of reading containers. Then we're going to add all the CPU stack, meaning all the different programs for CPU. And we're going to pull this singularity image if it's not pulled, and then set up a lot of different things for the environment. At the end of it all, what you want to do after all these different setups that we have done for you is actually run this line, singularity execute the container. And then that container has also different things that is going to be reading, okay? But what we want to get at is that it will be loading everything that you need to work with RStudio. If we see if it's running already right now, we have it here, okay? In this case, let's check the error file. We have the error file running, okay? It already loaded a bunch of modules. Over here, we have the same line once again. Okay. And then we can copy paste that. Okay. Good. Now that we establish one and only one thing pertaining to that connection, he's telling us now point your web browser to HTTP localhost, this port, just like VS Code, and we run with it. Now it's starting the RStudio. Meanwhile, I'm going to close this. Okay. Cancel, overwrite, cancel, overwrite, and then here, RStudio. For those of you that don't see quite clearly, here is my RStudio. I'm in home, and I can see all my different files that I have in my home, but I also can try to open projects or open recent projects that I have already created over here. So far so good. I have all the capabilities. Print hello world. Okay, I have the terminal that connects me to the compute node, because now I am inside of the supercomputer, and of course I am in my home. I can then create scripts like this script here, and I can save it over here. So this is how you run different IDEs for computer science, well, for data science as a matter of fact, and it's all inside Ibex. As a matter of fact, you can get a new terminal here, and you will see the same thing. You see, I am in containers one-on-one, but I am in Ibex. In this case, I am on Ibex, but I am at home. And in this case, I probably can also get a terminal. If I try to get this, a terminal, frameworking directory, I'm in a different directory, but I am on Ibex. And now the important part here is that I have a GPU to work with. Here I have another GPU to work with. Here I have only CPUs, but that's okay. It depends on your workload and what you want to do. So to close this, you go here, you go all the way to shut down, and you shut down properly. For this one, you basically just have to close this, And for RStudio, also you go out and sign out. Or quit session. There you go. Start session. Boom. Now we can close all the shells, or we can just come here, SQ, that's just me. I still have my IDEs running, so I can, or I could if I wanted, reconnect to them. But it depends on what you want to do. If I want to, I just want to cancel all of them so far. And now they are all canceled, so they are not wasting my resource or anyone else's resource. And this is how you connect to Ibex. And using, for example, RStudio, Jupyter Notebook, you have several options. If you do need more information, please check the documentation or ping us in our emails. Thank you very much. This is all that I have